Okay, we are live. Good morning, everybody. This is Billy of B-Town Real Estate, and I am with my special guest back here.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Riley Wolery with Wolery Artwork.
Yep.
Did I say that right? Okay. It's early. It's Friday. But we're here to talk about your upcoming art show. You've got one coming up again this year.
Yeah.
I went last year and it was a great time. A lot of cool like installations and things to see. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's coming up?
Well, so this is the 5th year that I've been doing these shows. This is the first time I'm actually doing 2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm marketing it that it's a 2-part show. A lot of repeats this year, same artists as I've had in the past.
Okay.
A couple new elements. For those that attended last year, we had Art perform.
Yes.
They're going to be returning.
Oh, good.
So,
Yeah.
but just performing during the VIP. So.
Okay.
If you want to see them and hear the guest speakers and first chance to buy the art,
Yes.
be sure to purchase one of these guys while they last.
Take it.
So,
And where can one find one of these tickets?
so still in the process of making like a website link, but you can either message me directly on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure we'll have some the night of still, so you can potentially get them at the door as well.
Okay.
Just direct message me, I guess, would be the best thing.
Okay. Instagram, Facebook?
Either
Oh,
or. Either
okay.
or.
Okay. So follow him on both of those avenues. And so you talked about the VIP portion. So
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So the VIP, you get a glass of wine, light hors d'oeuvres. Like I said, first chance to buy the art.
Okay.
There's going to be 2 guest speakers. Every year I try to pick 2 artists that are participating and talk 2 to 4 minutes long. Every year I pick a single word for the show and then also include the year.
Okay.
Just because I think it's a little more impactful.
Yeah.
The first year I did it, it was Recover 2021. So I just thought that was kind of tied in with what was going on. And it's kind of just progressed every year. This year it's Legacy 2025 because ultimately nobody's going to live or be here forever. So
isn't that the truth?
Yeah. But I taking it to the art realm, like look at Charlie Russell. He's been gone for how many years?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he's left a huge legacy. Mm-hmm. So art can kind of be translated the same as like a family heirloom. Like, what kind of legacy is it going to leave behind?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Because in a way, his life is still carrying on his art, right? And people are enjoying his stuff, and that's kind of an interesting way to look at that. I like that, yeah, because that's one thing that's inevitable. We're all gonna die someday, people. Mm-hmm. Good morning.
So buy art while you can.
So buy art while you can and support those artists. And it would be even great if you support them before they pass away, right?
Oh,
so they can enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Definitely.
So a lot of people are like, I'll just wait till they die, and
then it'll be worth something.
But then it's going to be worth even more, right?
Yeah.
They wait. So buy now, and then that's so morbid. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so you have Bozeman first, and those dates are.
So Bozeman is Saturday, April 26th, downtown Bozeman in the Baxter Hotel.
Ooh, cool setup.
Yeah, so this year, initially I was going to try to have them 2 weeks apart, but with scheduling, I initially had it scheduled for the 19th, not realizing that Easter is the following day.
Yeah, it kind of sneaks up on you.
So, yeah, so this was probably 8 months prior, but I decided I needed to change the date.
Okay.
So now they're back to back. So Bozeman is, like I said, April 26th, and then Billings is the following weekend, May 3rd, downtown Billings, back at the Northern Hotel.
At the Northern, yeah, that was nice. That was a nice venue for that.
Yeah, so.
And people afterwards can just hang out downtown and make a night out of it.
Yeah.
A little date night, hint, hint. So, okay, that's awesome. So could you share, you kind of talked a little bit about it, but can you share more on the inspiration behind this art show? Like what inspired you to do this again this year, and maybe speak on that a little bit?
Sure. Well, last year, definitely I broke even. But last year was also an election year.
Yeah.
So I know everybody struggled.
Right.
And me personally, I never want to discuss politics or have that be influenced in the shows.
Right.
So that was not even thought of during or before, etc. on the shows. I kind of preparing for this year's show, it was literally like next day after last year's, I started calling Bozeman venues. Like I knew I need to keep the momentum going as best as I can. They're not even here yet, but I'm already planning 2026 and 2027s. Like just trying to keep the momentum up, like I said, just because I know being an artist or trying to do anything in the arts is a struggle.
And getting everybody in line on those dates and venue. And it's a lot. Event planning is a lot. I don't think a lot of people know that unless you actually do it, right?
Oh yeah, it's my mother just she planned 2 weddings back to back. Well, not back to back, but both my sisters got married within 2 years of each other.
Wow.
And she was plenty stressed just planning one day. She's like, you do this every year.
Yeah.
So
I can't even imagine.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm not an adrenaline junkie, but in a way I kind of get adrenaline a little bit doing it. It just gets a little hard at times balancing that work life, because I still have a Monday through Friday job, and then try to fit in a personal life. So it's a good thing I'm not married or have kids. It's too many things to juggle.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. Event planning is no joke. So how has living and working in Montana influenced your artistic style?
Well, I'm a 5th generation Montanan, so Montana is pretty much the only home I've ever known. I mean, I've traveled. Yeah. But I think for being in Montana, it's definitely been being around the scenery.
Right.
Like, if we want to see mountains, we can just drive out of town for a few
about
minutes.
An hour.
Yep.
Well, you can see them in the distance.
Well, yeah. But you can drive lodge or something. Like you can go down the river. You can actually see a squirrel. You know, like there's people that we know, or even family members that live in the big city, and they think seeing a single pine tree is nature.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, I guess I don't know. It's something I probably take for granted. I guess like being born and raised here.
Yeah.
Because, God, I think I was maybe 12 when we finally made it to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
You know, like it just, talk about it growing up. Oh, we can do that any weekend.
Right.
For too long, it's like, oh my God, 5 years has gone by.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I was talking to a buddy of mine. He lives on the East Coast, and I think I just mentioned how often I go, which is not very often.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? It's in your backyard and you're not like there like once a month? I'm like, no, I guess I just don't think about it. Like you said, kind of take it for granted, right? That what is it, hour and a half drive to get to the entrance or something like that. But it's just, life gets busy and things like that. But we have that in our own backyard, and it's amazing and beautiful. People come across even the world to come to Yellowstone National Park. It's crazy. And you were like, maybe every 5 years I'll pop in there.
And I mean, just after hearing you say that, like taking it for granted and taking the time to appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm trying to shift these art shows to be. Like people, because I know you go to Targets, you go to Hobby Lobby, you go to these places that have quote unquote art.
The prints.
Yeah, but I
The
mean,
manufactured prints that have
yeah,
no meaning.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, you might go out to dinner and there's an original painting or sculpture there, like
Yeah.
the atmosphere, you're there in the moment and you're appreciating it. So my shows are kind of not set dates, but the dates are known in advance enough. Like take the time to go out, take the time to appreciate it, and there's all sorts of ranges in prices too. These pieces, not all these are going to be like $10,000
Right.
either, like they're, because I know everyone's got a budget, but
there were some very affordable pieces at the last one I went to.
now, did you guys buy anything? Or,
no.
Oh.
I didn't see
So this year.
I didn't see anything that I was like, oh, because we have very limited wall space in our house.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, like we really had to like decide. But there was a couple of that artists, I think I told you before, that I thought about commissioning him to do our family. Like it had the, gosh, I'm trying to remember. We talked about it before, but it's just an interesting way that he painted people. They were kind of like old school pictures. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Henry Blonde.
I think so, yeah. From Salt Lake or Utah or something.
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, that's the one, yes.
So.
Yeah, real close. But yeah, no, that was the only thing I was like, ooh, that'd be really cool. Like just the way his art was. But yeah, so maybe this year I'll end up taking a piece home. Let me make sure I forgot to look at the comments. I don't want to miss anything if anybody's talking to us on here. Okay, cool. And I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Oh, Yellowstone and
just appreciating things.
How Montana is affecting your art. Because yeah, your art tends to be. Why don't you tell everybody kind of what your art is typically like?
Oh boy. Well, so these shows were never about supporting me as an artist. It was just me promoting other artists.
Which is really cool.
Well, and I don't know, my stuff in comparison to other people's is just, for me, it just isn't up to par.
Oh, whatever. He's,
like, I don't know.
Come on now. Because you donated an art piece to the Family Promise Beach Blizzard fundraiser, which we really appreciated. And everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like they loved it. So don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
But it was a buffalo piece.
Yeah.
It was super cool. Yeah, people loved it.
Yeah. Well, and as far as my work goes, I like to just say I'm an impressionist. I'm definitely not a realist. Like you can, if it's a moose, you can tell it's a moose.
Yeah.
But the antlers might not be quite anatomically correct, so some just little things like I know, like, oh, that's not quite right. That's how the brush stroke came out.
Right.
That's how the color blended, so I kept it.
Yeah.
Something other people might not worry or think twice about, but it's something I'm like, so.
But I get that because, like, as far as being an artist, you're very, I guess, more. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Because my son's this way. He makes music, and it's never good enough in his mind. It's like, oh, I need to do this, or I need to make, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It sounds great. But like for an artist, right? They're like, oh, it could be better. Like, and then they just completely trash it and start all over again, right? To make it perfect. Is that kind of how you feel that?
Oh yeah. It's yeah.
It's never good enough.
Yeah. So right out of high school in my early 20s, there'd be some nights where if I had just a really bad mental block and wasn't having it, I would have a bonfire.
Yeah, you were saying that to just completely burn everything.
Yep.
Burn, baby, burn. Which is art in itself.
Oh yeah. You could say that. But yeah, looking back, I don't want to say I regret it, but there were a couple pieces I'm like, maybe I should have revisited this,
Right.
But I don't know, that was my, not coping mechanism, but like just my creative process, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, can you walk us through your creative process, right? So maybe you have an idea, something that you want to put on canvas, or like, how does that start? Like, how does it, from the idea to the
End
canvas?
result.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of different things that kind of trigger it for me. I'm very visual, but on some other things, I'm very like hands-on.
Okay.
So trying to remember, I did a group of paintings called the 406 Crowd. It's just a group of 5.
Mhm.
And I initially started with that piece with just painting the moose, and then it just kind of snowballed. I want to say it was because it was based off of smell,
Oh,
um, like down by the river, like
that's
fresh pine
Yeah.
smell. Other times it's based on music I've listened to, or sometimes a show that I watch.
Mhm.
So
Get an idea.
yeah, so it's not just like I wake up, I have my coffee, and then
Start going.
yeah,
You have to be inspired.
yeah.
Right?
Well, just kind of the living day-to-day life, because
Mhm.
you don't know what you're going to see or witness. So
Right.
I don't know if that kind of answers it, but
No, it does. It does. Is there like, do you like to do the art in silence? Do you listen to certain music, or is it both? Like, just kind of depending on the mood?
yeah, it just depends on my mood. I usually have a drink of some sort, whether it be coffee, tea,
Okay,
or
okay.
or some,
Whiskey.
well, that too. I gotta be barefoot. That's like the big thing for me.
Is it because the feeling of the ground, like the grounding, like earth kind of thing, or like what what's the reasoning?
Well,
More freedom, airing out. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just you don't
well,
like to be
no,
barefoot.
I'm not a big fan of wearing socks.
Okay.
And then I don't, sometimes I'll get toe cramps. So
Oh, from painting, or
no,
just
I
in
think it's just
general?
like dehydration or something
Oh,
silly.
right,
So so when it happens, I gotta stop what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
But
Dang toe cramps.
yeah. Um, but no, as far as like listening to music, like it's some days, yeah, I'll listen in silence. Other days it'll be either music or I'll put on a documentary just to have background noise.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Podcasts? Do you listen to podcasts?
every once in a while, but
Yeah.
then if I do, sometimes I get distracted by it. So then I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta visually see what's going on because
That's
with
interesting because it's a podcast,
oh yeah,
but you have to visually see. I just got back from social media marketing world, and they were talking about that. The guy was saying that video podcasts are more watched or listened to than just straight up audio podcasts. So that was interesting that you just said that, because they like to see the faces and they like to see who's talking. Would you say that's why you like to?
that and just I mean. Audio for me is always different than just reading it in text
Right.
because like if you get an email and see something in all capital letters,
Yeah. You're yelling
assume,
at me.
yeah. So, and that's just how your brain works. So
Yeah.
when you're listening to it audio wise, you can actually hear that person's tone.
Right.
You can hear the either lack of interest or the excitement of interest.
Mhm.
But sometimes the podcasts that you see them actually doing the video like us, it's kind of nice because you're actually seeing the body language.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
somebody could be shouting, but you either think, oh, they're angry or
Right. They're just excited.
yeah. So I listen to podcasts when I pay, but it's not that often just because I don't want to say it's distracting,
Yeah.
but could potentially be.
Right.
So,
What's your favorite podcast?
oh, I got a couple. I like watching the Hodge twins.
What's that?
So they're these two twin brothers. They're both African American.
Okay.
They're from the South. just they talk about their perspectives on things, like whether it's day-to-day life, on what rent is. They also like will do commentary on videos that are real popular on social media. And it's anything from like seeing body cam footage on a police officer to surveillance on a gas station and they see somebody drive off without paying, just
Wow, that's
different
interesting.
things.
Yeah. Wow. I'll have to check them out. Oh, any other ones that you like?
Yeah, I can't think of the name now. This gal, she actually tells you the origins of paint pigments and why or how they got their names.
Really? So like more of like artsy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Like,
there's so many different podcasts out there, right?
Oh yeah. But that's kind of about it. I don't want to say I listen to like a whole lot of them, but yeah, that's about it.
I've been listening to. Do you ever watch the Joe Rogan show or listen to that? Yeah, he always has very interesting guests on, but they're so long. They're like what, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes podcasts. I'm like, how do you talk for that long?
Well,
that's like a whole day.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I got the option, I would sit down and do an interview with them.
Oh yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, if you're watching, got some guests here. Some local young from Montana.
Yeah.
We're both artistic. I bring the dance, he brings the paint.
Do collaboration.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We'd be like interpretive, like,
Oh boy.
Ooh, we might have to make that happen. Yeah, and then like Mel Robbins is always, inspirational. And of course, real estate podcasts I listen to all the time. But yeah, podcasts. I'd love to hear what you guys' favorite podcasts are. So if you're watching, comment. So what is your favorite medium to work with and why?
So the only medium I've really ever worked with is acrylic.
Yeah.
It's just more familiar with me. Learned a couple tricks over the years on like how to really make it work to my advantage.
Right.
I'm not opposed to learning new mediums, but just I'm more comfortable with acrylic. I can jump in and just start a piece. I've done a couple collages here and there. In high school, I was kind of cursed, I feel like, because we had a potter's wheel. I love doing pottery, but it never failed. No matter what I did, it blew up in the kiln.
Oh.
So my art teacher, she just eventually just, yep, you pass. Like, it's not that you're not trying, it's just you cannot.
Why did it blow up?
So.
Like an air bubble or something?
Yep.
Oh, God. That would suck. You like took all this time to make it, and then it's
that's what I'm chalking it up to.
Yeah.
Because
what else would make it blow up? Because what is it?
Clay? Clay, air pocket. There might, I don't know. It's not like the moisture was anything in effect. But I think it was my junior year in high school.
So you never got to like paint it or do anything with it.
Well, so
they have to get like an extra one for you, like here.
Well, so I guess everything blew up in the kiln, and I think it was like my junior, maybe even senior year. I finally got to the point where I could glaze it and got it in the kiln going, but she only put just my piece in there. Just
so it would have exploded.
Yeah. It was going to be over the weekend type thing because I think it was a Friday, and then the next day or the next week at school, got to class and I was so excited. I'm thinking, man, I'm finally going to have a piece of pottery.
Right.
And my art teacher comes in and she was like, Riley.
Oh, no.
I checked on it over the weekend and I opened it up and it's in pieces.
Oh, no.
So then I gave up pottery.
You're like, forget it.
I switched to photography.
Yeah, photography. Yeah, I took photography. I love that class. That was so fun. Like the old school where you had the develop the,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, like in the dark room and stuff. That's what we had to do with the digital stuff like we have today. I just aged myself.
Oh. Well, no, you just reminded me too. So those of you guys that are listening that want to attend, last year we had a photographer at the show that did tintypes.
Yeah, those
So,
are cool.
Talking about aging.
No kidding. That's really old school.
Yeah, so that is a form of art. It's a photography that's been done since like the 1850s. He unfortunately is only going to be able to do Bozeman's. So if you guys want kind of a little keepsake, like date night or something to remember that evening, come to the Bozeman show and get a photograph done. So
yeah, that's the picture, like what we used in the promo, right?
Yep.
Your headshot. Yeah. So if you're curious what he's talking about, just look at the promo that I put out there, and that's the picture kind of looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Looks really old timely.
Yep.
Old timely. So let's talk a little bit, because I was talking to my son about this, and I was making like a funny little cartoon thing on ChatGPT AI, and he's like, "What are you doing on there? I hate AI. It's ruining things for the artists and this and that." You know, he was saying how I guess people are just making random music using AI and throwing it out on Spotify, and it's just flooding Spotify, and it's kind of like irking him, right? Because he's an artist.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like, you know, that you could just plug in, like, I want this piece to look like this, and then boom, it comes out.
So how much time do we have?
Yeah, we got a little bit.
I do have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I like AI in the sense if you have a mental block and you don't know how, if you got all these ideas in your head and you kind of need some visual inspiration, as an artist, I could see that, but somebody that's not the typical artist that can literally say, combine this together and then they're making money off of it.
Yeah.
That's where it gets a little.
Gotcha.
Me personally, that's
Right.
just kind of what gets me because, I mean, you got people that'll argue to be considered serious, you have to go to college, you know, or you have to have had so many years of internship or trade or whatever the case. AI, there's none of that. You literally just type what you want and then it's created and then they're like, okay, pay me. And it's like, how is that justifiable? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just makes it really hard for artists that are still creating to be taken seriously because now it's like, why should I have to pay $2,000 for this when my buddy or myself can just get a painting that looks like the Mona Lisa, you know, or whatever.
Right.
So that's another reason, forget AI for a night and come to these shows.
Forget AI just for one night. I like that. Yeah, I was just kind of curious, like how people felt, like, you know, especially artists that actually paint, when you can just go, I want this to look like this, you know, like they can decide, you know, make it like this artist, and boom, you know what I mean, and it's free. I mean, it's not. I mean, you gotta pay for it.
Well, yeah, but it just even by you paying for it though, I feel like it's copyright.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you could make it look like an Andy Warhol or a Da Vinci. Those artists have been dead years.
Right.
But it's still copying their work. It's not, because every artist has a style. Every artist has kind of their signature.
Yeah.
Lose my train of thought. But like their signature look.
Yeah.
So by you typing it in and taking it as your own, it's like, I don't know.
It's cheating.
I could talk all day on this.
Cheating. Don't do it. Support your local artists. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one. And are you going to have pieces of your own in the show?
Billings I will, but it's gonna be very small pieces on like the cocktail tables.
Okay.
Like like I said, my stuff I feel is not as good in comparison to
No,
everybody else.
stop it.
Well, it's tough for me to commit to having a space because I'm not in front of it that whole evening. I'm networking, I'm doing my thing, putting out fires if I need to.
Do you get much fires happening?
Well, depends on the year.
Did you last year?
No, not last
Okay.
year. No, but there was one year that anything that could go wrong with the venue happened with this one.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Mom, if you're listening.
Uh-oh.
Well, there was one particular year, and I know that she knows which one I'm talking about. The morning of the events, nothing was staged for us. This was not the Northern though either, it was a different venue.
Okay.
Nothing was staged.
And it was supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Okay.
Like there were no tables,
Oof.
linens, nothing was out.
Oof.
There was no staff at this venue.
Yeah.
And I called my parents in a panic because they came down just to come to the show.
Right.
And I called them pretty much asking them to come and like I was hiring them.
Yeah.
My mother of all people ended up having to clean the venue because
It
was trash from the night before.
Oh no.
So
tell me after this.
Oh man. That was tip of the iceberg with that place.
Sucks. Oh my gosh. So you just like hurried up, hustled, got it put together.
Well, oh yeah, my parents showed up and my mom's like, oh, it's fine, it'll be all right. And I'm like, ah.
You're like,
like it's the point of the matter. My mother shouldn't be the one back to me. So,
oh, bummer. So that's why you're not at that venue.
No.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, is there
live and learn?
Yeah. Well, of the pieces that you do have at the show, are there any that have like a special meaning for you, or that were maybe a challenging piece?
So I'm going to keep it a surprise. I have been working on a piece, just a little 6x6. I like to paint different sizes, but anymore I do like the smaller ones just because for me, I feel like I can put in more detail, and at the same time, it's easier for customers to buy it because you don't have to buy a big old piece and worry about transportation.
Or where to put it.
Well, exactly, yeah. Gosh, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I mean, my pieces, I'm just going to say, are either very colorful and bright, or they're black and white.
Yeah.
So that's about as much as I'll give out.
So that means you got to go to the show.
Yeah.
Check it out. He's holding back, people. So yeah, definitely go check it out. Oh, I like this one. So how do you think your art has evolved over the years, and what lessons have you learned along the way?
Oh, getting deep.
Oh yeah. You know we do here.
Well, when I was younger, like elementary age, I hated using color. I only ever used color pencil, pretty much. In my head, I could always visually see how I want the colors to look, but I could never translate it on paper the way I wanted. So then I would crumple it up and throw it and be done. I think I was in third grade. My mother signed me up for an art class. She said not that I needed the lessons, but just to kind of get more exposure.
Sure.
And the gal that taught those classes, we kept in touch for years. I can't think of her name now, but she ultimately kind of gave me that push to don't be afraid to use color.
Yeah.
Not that she was standing over me like you're going to use color and get happy.
She hands you like a package of crayons.
But she just kind of worded it that use color, don't be afraid to use it, and if you make a mistake, no one's gonna really know. So then that just kind of took off. Middle school and early high school years, I didn't really use it as much, but in high school, I started to get more comfortable using color.
Yeah.
So then that kind of shifted me to start painting because once I started using color, I jumped straight into paints. I didn't use like colored pencil or oil
just
pastels.
right in there.
Yep.
Okay.
So
it's so interesting to me, like it always is that one person that says a certain thing, right? That can change the trajectory of your life, right? It's kind of interesting. Like this teacher probably doesn't even know that she made a huge difference in your life.
I think
Or did you tell her?
I think she does. God, I feel terrible. I don't remember her name now. I can see her face, but like I said, we kept in touch for years, like all the way up until I graduated high school. She actually gave me a book. I think it's called The Artist's Soul. Um, she gave that to me for graduation, and I haven't read that book in years, so I feel bad it's in storage now.
You're gonna have to break that baby out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think she was a big influence. Growing up, my parents, whether they wanted to say it or not or believe it, they're kind of artistic. Like my mother's always had a way that she's done things or showcased things. My dad, he's very mechanical. He can look at something once, take it apart, and put it back together and have it working. Like
one of those.
Yeah.
They like actually like take it apart on purpose just so they can put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
Me neither. Nope.
I admire those people, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but both my parents, like, and both sides of the family, it's not just within my immediate family, they've got an appreciation for art. So we grew up, my sisters and I, like seeing Tim Sullivan bronzes. We saw Bev Doolittle prints, like just, I don't know, that kind of, I think, shapes my artistic style and way. And just ultimately too, like the people I chose to be around. Like, because right out of high school, I was working at a tattoo shop.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Right.
Because I just knew I wanted to do something art related. And college was definitely not an option or affordable. So
yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know.
So when did you know, like growing up, like when did you start, drawing or whatever? Like how early did you start that you knew that this is something I want to do, or I'm meant to do this?
Well, so my mom likes to joke I had a pencil in my hand before I could walk. Like,
you're like,
whether or not that was true, like
drawing on the walls.
I'd have to ask her. I don't know if we ever. I don't think I ever drew on the wall.
Oh wow.
Well, I may have. I can't remember though. I remember my sisters and I drew up on the table in the dining room.
Like underneath it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask my mom that now.
Yeah.
I don't think I drew on the walls, but
That's
I can't
funny.
remember. Yeah, I can't remember.
Probably like, yes, you did. You
Yeah.
did.
That's why we painted.
Yeah. That's why we had to paint every couple months. That's funny. Let's see. So art shows are a culmination of hard work and vision. Can you tell us about a moment during the preparation for this particular show that was maybe memorable or impactful?
Oh, for this show?
Prepared, yeah. Sounds like everything's kind of going smoothly, maybe.
Well, yes and no. I mean, there's always going to be bumps in the road.
Sure.
Like this is the 5th year I've done it, so I definitely know like
Yeah.
how to strategize, what to do, what not to do. I mean, things are definitely for me getting a little more stressful leading up to
Getting
the
up to
events.
it, making sure everything is going the way it's supposed to go. Yeah. Well, I can imagine like you have to be in contact with all these artists, and artists are different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It was funny. I was again at this conference, and she gave us time to be there. And she's like, I was like, do we really have to be there that early? She's like, here's the thing. She goes, I've learned with artists that you have to give them a buffer of like a half an hour because no matter what, they're always late.
Yeah.
I was just like looking at her like, oh, that's interesting. So they would say, be here at 7:30, but we really didn't have to be there till 8.
Yeah.
But it was because she wanted to make sure we were on time. Do you find like that with the artists that you're working with?
Yeah, so I totally do that myself.
You do that yourself?
Yep. Yeah.
You're like, yep, that's true. Yeah.
Sorry, I just outed everybody.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like an artist working with other artists, you understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it just, every artist has his or her own personality too, and just creative process, their own time schedule, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be as accommodating as I can, but in reality, you do kind of have to set firm timelines. Yeah. Otherwise, it's you give them an inch, they take a mile mentality. Yeah. So.
Yep. Then it's just a free for all.
Yep. Yep. So, and then I got to be the ringleader and kind of bring back the order.
I like that, a ringleader. Kind of like a circus ringleader guy. And it's a one night, right?
Yep.
It's one night. Okay.
Yep. Just one night only.
Okay. One night only. Okay. Let's see. Oh, so maybe there's some aspiring artists out there watching this. Like, what advice would you give them about pursuing a career in the arts?
Don't be afraid to take a chance. When I first moved to Billings, I spent $40 on Vista prints and just got some plain Jane cards. Mm-hmm. And every time I went out somewhere, I just would leave the card, like go out for coffee through the drive-through. There's the tip for the gal, and there's the business card. Oh. Like, don't be afraid to start talking to people. I don't want to say I eavesdrop all the time, but if I kind of would listen to key words in the workplace, like somebody said, oh, we need a new company logo, or we need something for the entrance, or something to draw people in. I would kind of put myself in the middle and be like, so what do we need? What's the deadline? Like, don't be afraid to start asking those questions. Yeah, biggest thing I guess would be just don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
I love that. Because that says real estate agents. It's, like obviously you're kind of the same thing, right? If you're real estate, you're like, yes. Yeah. How can I help? but sometimes we feel like we're being pushy, like salesman or whatever. But also, like you said, you have to kind of look at it coming from like, how can I provide value to you? Like, how can I help you, right? And kind of change your mindset. Would you say that's kind of not like, I'm here, I want to make some money. Like, I'm here to help. Right?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we all have bills to pay.
Yeah.
But, there's not just one realtor. There's multiple. So same with artists. So I know I can feel like some people that, because I've had days like this, it's like, man, there's just way too many artists out there. There's too many art events. Like, what the hell am I doing? I'm not going to stand out and call it bullheadedness, stubbornness, whatever you want to translate it to be. But you just kind of got to sometimes put your head down and power through, I guess.
Just say F it.
Yep.
Right?
Well, yeah. Yeah. So those of you that maybe listened, 6 months ago when I was on
was it? Or was it last year?
It might have been last year.
I think it was last year to promote last year's show.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's been a year. Isn't that crazy? Time flies.
Yeah, well, Billy just, yeah, F it, that's funny. I literally had to start telling myself that to kind of start doing these, like get more, I don't want to say independent, but like put myself out there.
Mhm.
So I would literally find the closest mirror and look at myself because some people kind of give themselves pep talks to get them hyped.
Yeah.
I'm not a hyped, peppy kind of guy, so I kind of just had to look at myself in the mirror and just tell myself F it 3 times and then just kind of rip off the band-aid and just go out and do it.
Do it. Just do it.
Yep.
Like Nike.
Like obviously strategize, like think things through.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're having wishy-washy thoughts about it, just tell yourself F it and do it. I mean,
Yeah.
because if you second guess yourself, you're ultimately not going to do it.
Right.
And
That's true. I was interviewing a friend of mine, Jeffrey. He's from New York, and I can't remember exactly the words he used, but basically he said it's never a failure, right? Like even if you fail at something, you have to look at it as a learning opportunity, right? So even if you fail,
yeah,
what could you learn from that?
yeah. I mean,
And I'm like butchering what he said.
Well, no, I get just.
So even if like you open up a business and you fail, it's not a failure, right? It's a learning lesson. You learn, okay, what did I not do right with this
Yeah.
business, and how can I make the next time I do something better, right?
And that for me, like just I get the message, but it's always been the wording that kind of,
Yeah,
I don't want to say trips me up, but it just kind of
yeah,
gets at me.
because the word failure is
Yeah.
not a good word,
Mhm.
right?
So and that just sticks with me. So
Yeah.
then that's all I think about is
Mhm.
I immediately forget all the good that's happened. I just am focused and worried on, okay, I screwed up.
Yeah,
What are we gonna do?
right,
So,
right.
but not everyone's like that. So, like I said, it just.
I think most people are though. They look at the negative right away,
Mhm.
right? Like I was listening to Mel Robbins this morning as I was getting ready, and she had this doctor on. She's like a psychologist, and she's saying that our brains are wired that way, right? Because when back in the day when we were hunters and gatherers, we were always on alert, right? Because there's wild animals and this and that, and we're just like always like looking for the worst thing to be prepared. But now we're not that way, but our brains are still wired that way. And I thought that's kind of interesting because if you think about it, we always do look at the negative things 1st, right?
Mhm.
We always go to the negative thoughts. I don't know. That was just something that I thought was interesting because I know I'm that way. Like right away, I'm like, why is that person looking at me like that? Like, you know what I mean? Are they mad at me? You know what I mean? And your brain just automatically goes negative. So it's like trying to switch that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Oh yeah, it's not saying it's not doable, but it does. I mean, it sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's like trying to think of the positives first, but your brain always goes to the negatives first. Like what could go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But I think that's what prevents people from doing things is that they're afraid they're gonna fail, right? Or screw up or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah. Interesting. We just got deep there. This is what happens when you come in this room and sit on the chair. Let's see. Couple more questions. Are there any other artists or movements that have influenced your work? Any artists that you like followed or kind of aspire to not be like, obviously, your own artist, but
Sure.
maybe that's influenced your work.
I mean, I don't know. I like Vincent van Gogh.
Mhm.
I like some of the pieces from the Renaissance, Da Vinci. So I kind of have a wide spectrum.
Yeah.
I always joke that when I have a house someday, it's going to be wallpapered, floor to ceiling with art, but it's all going to be different styles.
Ooh.
Like I love Western, but I also like some pop art. I like contemporary.
Yeah.
I like Renaissance pieces. Gustave Dior, he was a French illustrator, so I mean, just I don't know.
That's
That's a tough one.
That would be cool. You know, there's a company that makes wallpaper based off what you send them. Did you know this?
Oh no.
Yeah, when we did our art thing, Krista, she's watching, she had the whole room, the art museum, like with post-it notes, and it was just wallpaper.
Oh
So you can
really?
do that. You can just send them what you want, and they'll make the wallpaper. So when you get a house, there you go. Each room could be a different.
Oh,
How cool would that be? That would be so cool. He's thinking about it.
oh yeah.
I just thought that was so cool. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was an option.
Well, now I'm thinking it'd be trippy, but it'd be kind of cool to do some type of wallpaper piece on the floor in the bathroom, like make it look like a canyon or something.
Oh, wow. So you're walking and it looks like you're going to fall through the hole or something? That would be kind of cool.
I don't know, maybe.
And then when you have friends over, you'd be like, that's in the Van Gogh room.
Yeah.
That's in, you know what I mean? That's in the Rembrandt room, you know? I love it. I just gave you some ideas.
Now I just need the house.
Yeah, exactly. I can help you with that. So where can people that are watching, where can they view your work online? Can they view your work online and kind of get a sense of what you do, follow you on Instagram, Facebook, and see it there? Or do you have a website? Do you want to share this?
So still don't have a website, but yep, still just Instagram and Facebook for now.
Okay.
So
perfect. And tell them your handle. I see your name on Facebook. What's your handle on Instagram?
So it's Wolery Artwork.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Follow him. Go see the show. Message him for tickets. But again, Bozeman and Billings.
Yep.
2 different shows. And if you want to get that cool, timely photo, go to the Bozeman one, right?
Yep.
Any other different ones that they should know, like that's not in Billings, that would be in Bozeman?
Well, so for Billings this year, the charity is BNN Veterans Navigation Network.
Oh, cool.
So we have them, and then we also will be having the colors presented by a Native American organization.
Okay.
And they're going to be doing a drum circle.
Oh,
so
fun.
Yep.
And will ARC only be in Billings, or
yep.
are they going to Bozeman too?
Yep,
okay.
Just Billings.
And so ARC as well. And then here's the poster. You'll probably see these around town, and this is your art, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. Got a buffalo there, so. Well, cool. Well, as always, thanks for being on today. That was, we went a whole hour. No, isn't that crazy? But yeah, go see the show, support your local artists, and and we'll probably see you again next year when you do another show. Yeah?
Perfect.
All right, deal. Awesome. Perfect. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching. And now I'm going to end the stream. Bye.